People often ask me, Lou, how can you be so positive all the time? You're always thinking, you're always dreaming, you're always wondering, and they always say you're always doing. Well, what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to share with you my top 10 rules for success. And these are rules that I use to build a chain of business-to-business magazines, a weekly newspaper, an event business, and almost a dozen other businesses. Yes, my business experience, it's varied, but the rules I use to build those businesses from scratch, the rules are all the same. And I'm going to share those rules with you in this video. And that, my friends, that's up next right here on Over 50 TV. Welcome back to Over 50 TV. My name is Lou Reyes. In this video, I'm going to share with you my top 10 rules for success. And these are rules that I believe anyone, especially a person over 50, can embrace and use to propel themselves to a successful career or even a successful business. We'll start with rule number 1. Be open to change. Before we define change, let's just say this. Change in almost any form can be frightening, can be scary, especially if we've been in a situation and we've gotten ourselves comfortable in what we're doing. And it doesn't mean, when I say change, it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to change our job or change a career or change a business. Change could just simply mean learning a new skill set, or maybe just taking some classes just to refreshen our minds or our attitude or the way that we look at things. But people sometimes, often, and I found myself early in my career doing this, where I was in a situation where I was comfortable, I had a good job, I was making good money, but you know what? I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy with that job. Well, you know what? Unless you take those steps to make that change, unless you take those steps to grow, you're never going to know what opportunities are out there for you. So be open to change, because change can offer you many options, many opportunities, many ways forward that can be prosperous for you. Believe in yourself. And it's easier said than done sometimes. And I get a lot of messages from viewers who will tell me about a situation that they have at work or that they have at home, or they're telling me about the concerns they have about their career. I find sometimes that when people tell me that, and I've been there, I know what it's like, is sometimes you're just thinking everybody's coming down on me, the world's beating up on me. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to be successful. But you know what? You got to stand up. You got to rise up. And what you got to say is this: I believe in who I am. I know what I'm doing, and I know where I'm going to go. And no matter what anybody says, I'm going to be there. Believe in yourself. Understand your career. Understand your skills. Understand your wisdom, your knowledge. Understand who you are. This sounds preachy, yes, and maybe it is. But believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, like they always say, if you don't believe in you, who else is going to believe in you? How can you expect anybody to believe in you? How can you expect your wife to believe in you, your friends, your job, your coworkers, unless you believe in yourself? Be strong, stand up straight, and walk forward, and believe in you. Network, network, and network. When I started my very first business, what I did all day long was I sat in front of my computer and I was working away, learning as much as I could about whatever program I was working on, and I just focused on that. But one thing I noticed that there was no money coming in. I noticed that I was having a difficult time paying my bills. And I noticed above all that nobody was calling. The phone wasn't ringing. I was just sitting there all day long. And one day I said to myself, I've just got to get out. I've got to get out. I started going to functions, going to meetings. I was networking and meeting people. And then I was meeting people who could be potential customers, or meeting people who could introduce me to other people who possibly down the road one day could be a customer. Networking, yes, for some of us, it's not comfortable. We don't like going into a room where we don't know anyone. But go in with a mission. Go in with a mission. Go and determine that you are going to go into a meeting, or you're going to go to a function, you're going to go to an event, and you're going to introduce yourself to 3 people, to 5 people. If you're ambitious, introduce yourself to 10 people. But when I started doing that, when I started networking, my business started growing. My phone started ringing. Money, checks started coming in. I was able to pay my bills. Networking to me, communicating in a way that I hadn't done as I was growing up. Networking for me, communicating, it introduced me to so many more people, and it helped me to grow my business. I will say this to you. Networking may be the single most important thing you can do. It may be the single most important rule of the 10 rules I'm telling you about today. Be willing to do whatever it takes. And one thing in my life that's always been true is whatever it takes, I'm going to do. And sometimes I will admit the path that I took wasn't maybe the smartest path. Maybe it took me a little bit longer to get where I wanted to go. But whatever it takes for you, whatever it takes, if you have a plan, if you have a goal, you're going to have to do everything and anything, whatever it takes to reach that goal. I have been a laborer. I've been a busboy. I have been a dishwasher. I have worked construction, the hard work that you have to put in. I took part-time jobs and full-time jobs so I could do the things that I needed to do to build a business, to build a successful business. Whatever it takes, you've got to do. That is the only way that you can truly be successful is to have that mindset. And I did it because I had a goal in mind. And I'm saying to you, whatever it takes, that's what you got to do. Be goal driven. When you establish or when you set a goal, it helps you to know what you're going to do, where you're going to go, and how you're going to get there. You don't take a trip. You don't take a trip without a plan. You don't take a career move or make a career move without knowing where you want to be. Whenever I've started a business, whenever I started even a new program within that business, I always asked myself this: what is the outcome? What do I want the outcome to be? And then I would do is I'd work backwards and I'd say, okay, this is what I need to do to get to where I want to be. But when you set a goal, it helps you to measure your success. And more importantly, when you set a goal, it helps for your motivation, because as you cross different benchmarks, you'll feel better and you'll feel proud. And what's going to happen, and invariably what happens, is this: once you reach that goal, you can celebrate, you can feel really good. And then you set your next goal. Be confident. That's certainly different than when I said to believe in yourself, because when you're confident, when you're projecting confidence, when you walk into that job interview, no matter how old you are, how young you are, but when you walk into that job interview and you're confident, not arrogant, but confident, you're projecting your strength, you're projecting your knowledge, your experience, and what's happening is the person that you're talking to is looking at you and saying, this person knows what they're doing, and they start believing in you. You can't run a business if you're not confident. Your employees, they won't follow you. They won't listen. Your suppliers, if you're not confident, they're not going to give you that line of credit you need, or they're not going to provide you with the items that you need to build your business. Confidence is one of the most critical things that I believe and that I know a person can have. Whenever I've walked into a meeting, and I've walked into meetings with high-level business people, with politicians, local, citywide, statewide, and national, every business person that I've met, successful business person, has confidence. Just go on television. Look at the people that are there. Look at the people that you're watching. If they don't project confidence, you know it, you feel it. Let go of the past. My disappointments, they could fill a semi-tractor trailer, but I wouldn't have had any success if I was always worried about the past. And I suspect that many of you out there, especially people over 50, some of you are people who regularly watch Over 50 TV. Some of you send me messages. I actually understand when you say how disappointed you are in your life that you didn't achieve or haven't achieved the things that you want to achieve. And it's easy sometimes, or often it's easy to say, well, it's that boss's fault or that company's fault, or it's his or her fault. But no, at the end of the day, just let it go. At the end of the day, just let it go and move forward. If you move forward, you'll have that city block full of successes. But if you don't, you're just going to add another disappointment to that tractor trailer, the tractor trailer that I'm telling you that I have in my past, where I said, boy, that didn't work out. I don't know, I don't know what I'm going to do, but you let it go. You let it go and you move forward. That's the only way. It's the only way that you can be successful. Listen, I think most of us, and maybe this is human nature, where we want to just talk and talk and talk, and we don't want to listen. When we don't listen, we don't hear, and we don't hear, we don't know. There's been many times where I've been in meetings, in sales meetings, or maybe meeting with an employee or a corporate head, and I'm listening to them, and I hear things. I hear things that I wouldn't have heard had I not listened, had I tried to talk too much. One of the things that I have come to see over time, and especially as a former publisher of a chain of business-to-business magazines, one of the things that I've learned as a person who's written stories and covered events is that you ask a question and then you just wait for that person to respond. And you fight it sometimes. You fight so hard not to interrupt or not to give your opinion. But when you listen, you're going to learn. And when you learn, you're going to grow. Take time to smell the roses. You may be thinking, well, this dude, man, he is just a little bit intense. But you know what? I always understand and will always understand the importance of taking a step back, taking a long walk, maybe taking a ride on my bike, but doing whatever that I can do to relax my mind, to just take time and appreciate what I've worked hard for. Take time to appreciate your family, to appreciate your home, to appreciate who you are. But taking time to smell the roses, it refreshes you, it energizes you, it makes you look forward to that next day or that next week or maybe that trip that you plan on taking. Take time to smell the roses. Life is too short to do anything else. Well, I've just given you my top 10 rules for success when you're over 50. And I know some of you may be thinking, well, these rules really could apply to just about anybody. And yeah, I believe that they can. But if you're over 50 years old, I think you can certainly identify with some of the key rules that I've mentioned. Rules that I know are important for your future. They're important for your happiness above everything else. Well, that's all I've got for you today, folks. I will ask you to subscribe to Over 50 TV. You can do it by hitting that little red button. It's underneath your screen. There's also a little bell. If you hit that little bell, you'll get our update. Every single time we upload a new video, you'll be notified in your inbox. Well, as I always say, have a great day, everybody.